Do your joints feel stiff, swollen, or achy? You're not alone. Millions of people struggle with joint pain every day, whether it's from arthritis, inflammation, or just wear and tear. But here's something most people don't realize. What you eat could be making it way worse. Yes, that's right. Some everyday foods can cause inflammation, aggravate pain, and even speed up joint damage. The worst part? You might be eating them right now without even knowing it. But don't worry, I've got you covered. In this video, we're breaking down 5 foods you should stop eating as soon as possible if you want healthier, pain-free joints. And don't worry, I won't just leave you hanging. I'll also share healthier swaps to keep your joints happy and strong. So, let's dive in and start with the first culprit on our list: sugar and sugary drinks. All right, let's start with a big one: sugar. I know. Who doesn't love a sweet treat? But here's the thing. If you're dealing with joint pain, inflammation, or arthritis, sugar is not your friend. In fact, it could be making your pain way worse without you even realizing it. Let's break it down. When you eat sugary foods, like cookies, candy, cakes, or even that healthy fruit juice you picked up from the store, your body quickly processes that sugar, causing spikes in blood sugar levels. But what does that have to do with your joints? A lot, actually. Excess sugar triggers your body to release inflammatory messengers called cytokines. Think of them as little alarm signals that tell your immune system to go into attack mode. And when inflammation becomes chronic, your joints take the hit, leading to stiffness, swelling, and more pain. But wait, it gets worse. Too much sugar also increases the production of something called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These nasty compounds literally speed up the breakdown of collagen, which is the cushion that protects your joints. The result? More wear and tear, more stiffness, and more pain. And if that wasn't bad enough, let's talk about sugary drinks. Sodas, energy drinks, sweetened coffee drinks, and even some fruit juices are some of the worst offenders. A single can of soda can contain over 40 grams of sugar. That's around 10 teaspoons. Drinking these regularly not only fuels inflammation, but also leads to weight gain, which adds even more pressure on your joints. So, what's the solution? Do you have to give up sweets forever? Not at all. The key is making smarter choices, and the best way to do that is by swapping out sugary drinks for delicious, refreshing alternatives that won't harm your joints. Instead of reaching for soda, try making your own infused water. It's so easy and tastes amazing. Just take a large pitcher of water, add a handful of fresh mint leaves, a few slices of lemon or lime, and a handful of berries like strawberries or blueberries. Let it sit in the fridge for a couple of hours, and you'll have a naturally flavored, antioxidant-rich drink that hydrates you without the sugar overload. If you love fruit juice, go for whole fruits instead. The fiber helps slow down sugar absorption, keeping inflammation at bay. But if you really crave juice, try making a homemade anti-inflammatory juice. Just blend half a cup of fresh pineapple, 1 small orange, a slice of fresh ginger, and a little water. Pineapple and ginger are both packed with anti-inflammatory compounds that can actually help reduce joint pain instead of making it worse, like store-bought sugary juices. And if you need a sweet fix, there are plenty of delicious options that won't spike inflammation. Instead of processed candy, try a small piece of dark chocolate, at least 70% cacao. It's rich in antioxidants and won't trigger the same inflammatory response as regular milk chocolate. Another great option is golden turmeric honey. Just mix a teaspoon of raw honey with a pinch of turmeric and a dash of cinnamon. Not only does it satisfy a sweet craving, but turmeric is also one of the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory spices out there. So, the bottom line? Cutting back on sugar can significantly reduce inflammation and help your joints feel so much better. You don't have to quit cold turkey, but even small changes, like swapping soda for infused water or candy for dark chocolate, can make a huge difference in your pain levels. And speaking of foods that make joint pain worse, let's talk about the next culprit: processed and fried foods. If you love crispy fries, fried chicken, or those quick frozen meals, I've got some bad news. These foods may taste amazing, but they can seriously worsen joint pain and inflammation. Here's why. Processed and fried foods are often loaded with trans fats, refined carbohydrates, and high levels of omega-6 fatty acids. While omega-6 fats are essential in small amounts, having too much of them, especially from unhealthy sources, increases inflammation in the body. And when inflammation runs wild, it can trigger or worsen conditions like arthritis, stiffness, and swelling in the joints. Another major problem is advanced glycation end products. These harmful compounds form when foods are cooked at high temperatures, like frying, grilling, or roasting. And as mentioned earlier, they damage the proteins in your body, including collagen, which is essential for joint flexibility. So, the more advanced glycation end products you consume, the faster your joints break down, leading to more pain and discomfort. And let's not forget about all the preservatives and additives in processed foods. Things like artificial flavor enhancers, high sodium levels, and chemical preservatives can stress your body, cause inflammation, and make it harder for your joints to heal. If you often eat packaged snacks, frozen dinners, or fast food, your body is constantly battling these harmful effects. Now, I know what you're thinking. Does this mean I have to give up all my favorite comfort foods? Not necessarily. The good news is that there are healthier, joint-friendly alternatives that taste just as good, if not better. Instead of deep-fried foods, try baking or air frying. You can still get that crispy texture without all the unhealthy oils. For example, if you love French fries, try making homemade sweet potato fries. Just slice a sweet potato into thin strips, toss them with a little olive oil, sprinkle them with paprika and sea salt, and bake them at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 minutes. They'll be crispy, delicious, and way better for your joints than regular fries. If you're craving something crunchy, swap out processed chips for homemade kale chips or roasted chickpeas. Simply toss kale leaves with a little olive oil and sea salt. Bake them at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 to 15 minutes, and enjoy a crispy, nutrient-packed snack. Roasted chickpeas are just as easy. Season them with your favorite spices and bake until golden brown for a satisfying crunch. And when it comes to processed meats like sausages, hot dogs, and frozen meals, try to go for whole, fresh ingredients instead. Cooking simple meals at home with lean proteins like chicken or fish or plant-based options like lentils will help reduce inflammation and support your joints in the long run. So, while it's okay to enjoy your favorite treats in moderation, cutting back on processed and fried foods can make a huge difference in how your joints feel. And now that we've covered this inflammatory culprit, let's move on to the next one: refined carbs and white bread. Let's be honest, there's nothing quite like a warm slice of bread or a big bowl of pasta after a long day. Comforting? Absolutely. But if you're dealing with joint pain, these refined carbs could be working against you, making inflammation worse and your joints stiffer over time. But why? The problem with refined carbohydrates, like white bread, white rice, and pastries, is that they've been stripped of fiber and essential nutrients during processing. Without fiber, your body digests them extremely quickly, leading to sharp spikes in blood sugar. And here's the catch: these constant spikes trigger the release of inflammatory cytokines, which are the same compounds responsible for swelling, stiffness, and pain in your joints. Over time, frequent blood sugar fluctuations can also lead to insulin resistance, which has been strongly linked to chronic inflammation and arthritis. But that's not the only issue. Refined carbs also contribute to the production of advanced glycation end products. As mentioned before, these harmful compounds accelerate collagen breakdown, damaging the protective cushion around your joints. The more advanced glycation end products in your system, the faster your joints deteriorate, leading to more pain and discomfort. And the worst part? Many of these refined carbs are hidden in foods that seem harmless, like store-bought granola bars, flavored yogurts, and even healthy whole wheat bread that's actually packed with processed flour. Now, before you panic and swear off bread forever, let's talk about better alternatives. You don't have to give up carbs completely, just make smarter swaps. Instead of white bread, go for whole grain or sprouted grain bread. These options have more fiber, which helps slow down digestion and prevent sugar spikes. If you love pasta, try whole wheat pasta, chickpea pasta, or zucchini noodles. They're just as satisfying but way better for inflammation. For breakfast, instead of sugary cereals or white toast, try overnight oats. Just mix rolled oats with almond milk, a spoonful of chia seeds, and some berries. Then let it sit overnight in the fridge. In the morning, you'll have a delicious fiber-packed meal that keeps your blood sugar stable and reduces inflammation. Another great option is a quinoa bowl. Cooked quinoa with nuts, seeds, and a drizzle of honey gives you energy without the inflammatory effects of refined carbs. The key here isn't to cut out carbs completely, but to choose the right ones. Whole, fiber-rich carbs help your body fight inflammation instead of fueling it. So, if you've been relying on white bread, pasta, and pastries, making these simple swaps can do wonders for your joint health. All right, let's keep going. Moving forward, at number 4, we have dairy products. And this one might surprise you because dairy is often praised for being a great source of calcium and protein. But if you struggle with joint pain, milk, cheese, and other dairy products might actually be making things worse. The issue with dairy comes down to casein, a type of protein found in milk. For some people, casein can trigger inflammation, especially in those who are sensitive to it. When your body struggles to digest casein properly, it can lead to an immune response, which in turn can increase inflammation in the joints. This is particularly concerning for people with arthritis, as chronic inflammation is one of the key drivers of joint pain and stiffness. But that's not the only problem. Dairy products also contain saturated fats, which have been linked to increased levels of inflammatory cytokines, those same troublemakers responsible for swelling and pain. Moreover, dairy is one of the biggest dietary sources of advanced glycation end products. As mentioned before, these harmful compounds accelerate joint damage by breaking down collagen and cartilage. So, while a cheesy pizza or a creamy latte might be delicious, consuming dairy regularly could be silently worsening your joint pain over time. Now, does this mean you have to say goodbye to dairy forever? Not necessarily. But if you suspect that dairy is triggering inflammation in your body, it's worth trying some delicious, joint-friendly alternatives. For example, instead of cow's milk, try almond milk, coconut milk, or oat milk. They're creamy, tasty, and won't contribute to inflammation. If you love cheese, nut-based cheeses made from cashews or almonds can be a great alternative. And for yogurt lovers, coconut yogurt or almond yogurt provide the same creamy texture without the inflammatory effects. And if you want a fun, easy swap, try making a dairy-free, anti-inflammatory smoothie. Just blend 1 cup of almond milk, half a banana, a handful of spinach, a teaspoon of turmeric, and some frozen berries. Not only is it delicious, but turmeric and berries are packed with natural anti-inflammatory compounds that actually help soothe joint pain instead of making it worse. So, while dairy might not be an issue for everyone, if you've been experiencing persistent joint pain, cutting back or switching to healthier alternatives might make a huge difference in how you feel. And now, let's talk about the final culprit on our list: red meat and processed meats. If you love a juicy steak or can't resist crispy bacon, this one might be hard to hear. But the truth is, these meats could be making your joint pain significantly worse. Here's why. Red meat, especially fatty cuts like beef, lamb, and pork, contains high levels of saturated fats, which have been linked to increased inflammation in the body. When consumed in excess, saturated fats trigger inflammatory responses, leading to more swelling, stiffness, and discomfort in your joints. This is particularly bad news for those with arthritis, as inflammation is the root cause of joint pain. But that's not all. Processed meats like bacon, sausages, hot dogs, deli meats, and even some frozen meats are packed with preservatives, added sodium, and artificial chemicals that can fuel inflammation. Many of these meats also contain nitrates and advanced glycation end products. And as mentioned before, they are harmful compounds that speed up joint deterioration by breaking down collagen and cartilage. The more processed meat you eat, the more ages accumulate in your body, worsening inflammation and making joint pain more severe over time. Now, I know what you're thinking. Do I have to give up meat entirely? Not necessarily. The key is choosing the right kinds of protein and making healthier swaps. Instead of processed meats, go for lean protein sources like wild-caught fish, organic poultry, lentils, chickpeas, or tofu. Fish, like salmon, sardines, and mackerel, are especially good choices because they're rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which help reduce inflammation and protect your joints. If you love burgers, try making a delicious anti-inflammatory alternative using lentils or black beans. Just mash 1 cup of cooked lentils with a handful of oats, a tablespoon of flax seeds, and some spices like garlic powder and paprika. Form them into patties, pan-fry them in olive oil, and enjoy a tasty, joint-friendly burger that's packed with protein without triggering inflammation. And if you're craving something hearty, try a turmeric-spiced chicken or tofu stir-fry. Just sauté some lean chicken or tofu with turmeric, ginger, and a mix of colorful veggies for a nutrient-packed meal that fights inflammation instead of fueling it. So, while red and processed meats might be a staple in many diets, cutting back on them and opting for healthier anti-inflammatory alternatives can make a huge difference in how your joints feel. And with that, we've reached the end of our list. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to our channel for more informative content. See you in the next video.